Speaking at West Point last week, President Obama all but declared victory in Ukraine on behalf of the US, its allies, and the international community. He must be speaking about a different Ukraine. If victory is defined as the ability to shape the dynamics on the battlefield, which is Ukraine, then Russia is continuing to win. Despite the pullback of some of the Russian troops from the Ukrainian border, Vladimir Putin's plans vis-à-vis Ukraine have not changed. Here are the three most important things to keep in mind as far as his strategy for the future. Despite the partial success of the Ukrainian presidential election, Moscow's strategy has not changed. It still consists of three main parts: to humiliate, punish, and possibly dismember Ukraine, to prevent any sanctions from being implemented or to dilute them, and to continue to solidify Vladimir Putin's domestic political base for what looks more and more like presidency for life. In early May, President Obama and German Chancellor Angela Merkel promised to impose sanctions on Russia if Ukrainian presidential election was to be disrupted. Well, the election was prevented from taking place in the Russian control area in the east. No sanctions followed, and so Russia continues to contest Ukrainian sovereignty over that entire territory, over the Ukrainian industrial heartland. Almost every week, Moscow picks a different target for an attack with mortars and grenade launchers, led and spearheaded by professional Russian special forces and supported by the local militants. From this point on, Vladimir Putin could pursue three goals, which are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they're quite compatible. He can turn it into an area of a frozen conflict, like Nagorno-Karabakh or Transnistria, where Russia-supported forces dominate areas formerly belonging to other states. He can use the situation on the ground in eastern Ukraine as a very heavy bargaining chip in any future negotiations with the West and Ukraine in order to achieve the goal of federalization of Ukraine, which means essentially making eastern Ukraine a Russian protectorate. Or he can continue to expand the area under Russian control further east and south. And so despite the obvious success of the free and fair presidential election in Ukraine in the areas that are not under Russian control, and despite President Obama's all but declaring a victory in Ukraine, in the absence of effective sanctions by the West and the inability so far of the Ukrainian military to resist effectively Russia's encroaching in the east, the future of Ukraine remains largely in Russia's hands.